Victoria with Hello Life, and today we are going to be talking about how to curb unwanted behavior such as barking with your dog. We have a couple things that we need to work with that people definitely come to me and talk about the issues with their dogs of barking, and one of them is neighbors that own dogs and you have a dog and they like to bark through the fence at each other. So one of the other things that we're going to also talk about is a dog that's in your house and people are walking by on your sidewalk or on your street, and whether they're walking by themselves or walking their dog or kids, and your dog runs to the door, to the window, and just starts barking away. So we want to talk about how to get that behavior under control and corrected and get it manageable. This is the type of behavior that we're talking about is something that won't go entirely away, but we can definitely demonstrate how to get this under control and give you the tools that you need to use to help keep it manageable with your dog. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to demonstrate with the leash of how we are going to use this to correct the unwanted behavior with your dog with the barking. And how we're going to do that is when you're dealing with a barking issue outside, the number one rule that we have to remember is we have to take the dog inside to do the timeout. It's called a timeout method. And what we're doing is we're associating a negative consequence with the unwanted behavior. So the dog is going to start relating that every time we do a timeout with that unwanted behavior, they realize, well, this isn't fun. So you will see that unwanted behavior slowly go away. The key with this is you have to be consistent. If you're not consistent, and this is with all training, if you're not consistent, your dog won't learn. Dogs learn with being consistent with them. So we're going to use a leash, and how we work with the timeout method is pretty simple. So she is barking here, and we're going to definitely demonstrate this. If she's barking at a dog, what we're going to do is we're just going to pull her inside, and we're going to step on her leash, and we're going to step on it as close as we can to her collar. And this is going to restrain her and kind of pull her head down just a little bit. And I'm not hurting her in any physical way. And that is all part of this training. There is no physical punishment here. There's a negative consequence. Dogs don't like to be restrained. They don't want to be confined to a small area. So you might see her body struggling a little bit here and there. Some dogs will bark while they're in a timeout. Some dogs' tails will just wag because they don't care that they're in a timeout. So these are different things that we have to be aware of. When you're dealing with a timeout with your dog, there's a couple rules that we have to understand and apply when we're in the timeout with our dog. For one, you are in the timeout with your dog. You have to serve the timeout with your dog. So unlike human children that you can put into a timeout in a corner, we can't do that with a dog. Also, never, ever, ever use your crate as the timeout method. Don't put your dog in the crate and shut the door and use that as your timeout. That's like the worst thing you could do in associating a crate as a bad thing. And we want to keep a dog's crate very positive. So if you do use a crate at home, let's not use that and turn it into a negative. So right here I have Izzy confined to a small area. Now she really honestly didn't do anything wrong. So right now she's not making a big deal of this. So she's just kind of like, what are you doing? No big deal. But what we're looking for is a couple things in our dog. We are looking for body movement. I don't care about body position with the dog. The dog can be sitting, standing, or laying down. What I'm actually looking for from my dog is I am looking for the little body movements. I want her body to be calm. When her body is calm, that means that her state of mind is starting to relax, and that's what we're looking for. We're removing a dog from a point of an unwanted behavior that they're usually excited about. So we're trying to get their brain to calm down and slow down a little bit. So this is the method that we're looking for. So when her brain starts slowing down, her body movement is going to slow down. Her tail is going to either not wag, and right now it's kind of tucked under because she's not too happy that I'm forcing her to be here right now. Or you might see her tail wag a little bit slow. Those are some of the things that we're looking for. If your dog is barking in a timeout, you have to ride that out. You do not release your dog when they are barking in a timeout. So you sit here patiently and you wait for your dog to calm down. You don't talk to your dog while you're in a timeout with your dog. You don't say, oh, Izzy, if you weren't barking, we wouldn't be standing here. There's absolutely no conversation made. You can look down at your dog anytime, but the key is if they look to you and make eye contact with you, you have to avert your eyes elsewhere. You do not make eye contact with your dog. So once she's completed her calmness and she's gotten to that calm state of mind that we're looking for, we're going to count at least 10 seconds to make her hold that, because we want to make sure that we release her back into a calm state of mind. So we're just going to count 10 seconds to ourselves. Once the 10 seconds is completed, we take the leash, we drop it, and we walk away. And we walk away from the dog before letting the dog bolt away from us. So what we're doing is we're letting her know that we were in charge of this timeout. So we're maintaining control of that, but we're also done with the consequence and there's no further punishment. Another thing to make sure that you understand about timeouts is that you do not reward your dog after the timeout. There's no petting your dog, saying that was a good timeout, good job. There's no giving a biscuit to your dog right after the timeout. There's nothing, you just walk away. After a couple minutes, if you want to go back to your dog and play with your dog or take it for a walk or sit on the couch and watch TV, that's fine. But not directly right after the timeout.